Welcome to presenting at a conference. I have not presented, so these panelists will be your experts. I thought we would start with everybody sharing their name and then where you presented or where your experience was. And then go through the process kind of organically so that we can ask questions and just see where the conversation takes us and see what you guys want to find out. So without further ado, do you want to start us off?
Sure. My name is Nick Dietrich, and I have presented at two different conferences. One last year, February of 2011, at the NODA Region 1 conference in Missoula, Montana. I did a presentation on how to create a welcoming environment for non-traditional students. So at the time I was working full-time at DeVry, so I worked with a lot of non-traditional student populations through my work in New Student Orientation. And so me and one of my student leaders traveled to Montana to present on that topic and sort of a round table discussion style of presentation. And then I also presented at Rutgers this past summer. They had a one-day drive-in conference, and I was asked to present on how to showcase your leadership styles on a resume and job search process for student leaders at Rutgers, so I did that as well.
Hey everyone, my name is Emily Wolfkeel, and this spring I presented at ACPA in March, and then also AERA, which is the American Educational Research Association conference in Vancouver in April. So it's kind of a 2-month sprint of presenting and traveling, but yeah, it was really fun. Both presentations were on the graduate search process, and the presentations themselves look different, but I can talk about that later after everyone else has introduced themselves.
My name is Flavia Garcia Medina. I have presented at different types of conferences, so at conferences geared specifically for high school students, and then at college student conferences, as ethnic-specific conferences, mostly Latino student conference, and also NASPA regionals, and then at nursing associations, because I used to work for Linfield, which was a nursing school, and so I presented at broad different topics, but I've also done poster presentations as well. So I know this is about conferences, but poster or workshop presentations specifically, but I've also done poster presentations, which are a lot more fun and less stressful.
My name's Stephanie Noss, and as of May, I will have presented 3 times, all on the same topic, and I'm doing it with Katrina. We did our presentation about the importance of graduate interns and about how different offices can get interns, and then also how you can find internships, so from the student perspective. And we did our presentation at NAFSA Regionals, so NAFSA is the International Educators Association in Reno this past November. We're also doing a poster or a session at AWISA, which is the Association of Washington International Student Advisors, this Friday, and then we're also doing a poster presentation this May at NAFSA in Austin.
I'm Katrina Naya, and like Stephanie said, I presented with her, and then I've also presented at NASPA last year at the regional conference.
So I guess first question that I'm interested in is, how did you come up with the idea of what you would present on? Because I think it's really hard to narrow it down. Did somebody approach you? Was it a class assignment, or was it something that started out as an idea and then went somewhere totally different?
Well, for Katrina and I, so we went to NAFSA, the annual conference in Vancouver, and we saw all the presentations. We were like, oh, this is not that hard. Like, we could do this. And so on the way home from Vancouver, we were like, what can we present on? Like, we're not really experts in it. Like, we're just dumb first-year grad students. What do we know? And so then we were like, oh, maybe we could do a session about like graduate internships, because we've both been successful in that. And then our friend Sabrina, who's an alumni, kind of did the institutional perspective, which was nice. So.
And then the other, when I presented at NASPA, that was like a project that we had done in the theory class here. So that was kind of Erica Yamamura kind of initiated that. And I also wrote a proposal for NASPA NASPA that was rejected, but that was something that I had been doing an independent study on. And then Erica was like, oh, maybe you should do this proposal. So that's what I have.
For me, it was just topics that, so as a first generation student, a lot of it was about equity and access is mostly what I presented on. And so at high school conferences, that's what it was about. It was about how to get into college, how to apply for scholarships. I recently presented at the Students of Color Conference in Yakima, and it was about how to prepare your resume and you, ask for letters of recommendation and how to successfully apply for scholarships. And so it's mostly been based on my experience, but also things that I'm interested in. So I recently submitted and I don't know if I'll get to present, but I submitted a proposal for NASPA regionals for next year, and I'll be presenting on my graduate project, which is Latino Males in Higher Education. So mostly what I'm interested in, but also what I have gone through as a student, and then also topics that are really important to me.
So I got involved. Erica approached me to come on board with the project for the presentation and paper writing phase of some data that she had collected and started analyzing previously. So I was brought on board in January and kind of just jumped right in with that whole process. And though I didn't necessarily start the project from its inception and establish the idea and what I wanted to really present on, it ended up really working out well for me in terms of it matching up with my interests really well. So I presented on the graduate search process, and in particular looking at our program and how it works and areas of improvement possibly. And so it was neat to kind of tie my own personal experience in with the research. So that was something that really made my experience meaningful and also plays into the idea of access and equity, which I'm also really passionate about. So that's how I got on board with that. I tend to just always say yes whenever anyone asks me to participate in research things, because I know that that's something that I enjoy and that I like participating in. So I just kind of got lucky with this, I guess. And then I know that Shaterika and I are putting together a proposal for NASPA Regional, just kind of our own ideas, talking through some things that we're interested in. So we're hoping to also present on this one.
For me, my supervisor last year was the regional advisor of NODA Region 1, and so it was a big part of the planning phase for the conference in Missoula. And so I had talked with her when I first was hired on about I would want to present at a conference sometime, not necessarily on orientation, but something in my job. And she really strongly encouraged me to put her in a proposal and work with the student leader on that, because she wanted to bring students with me as well. So me and a couple of students wrote the proposal, submitted it, and we were approved. And then a couple of the students backed out of the actual presentation, but I still got to bring one student with me. So I was really kind of encouraged by my supervisor to do the proposal, and she kind of helped me walk through the stages of what that looked like and helped me format it and get it submitted, and then helped me prepare once I got approved the actual presentation, what it would look like. And, so yeah, that was really encouraged from my supervisor to do it. But I also at the same time wanted to present, and so it's kind of a nice fit for me to kind of present on something that I was interested in, but also that fit well with what our office was doing at the time, and a unique kind of model that we use at the RIDE to orient non-traditional students. So.
Does anybody have any questions surrounding this initial brainstorming process?
I was like, no. Yeah. Well, I was curious if you could talk about like just the audience spaces at the different conferences and how the brainstorming looks different, catering to those different audiences.
Yeah, I mean, I think that what I've definitely learned is, for example, speaking to first generation students who are in high school, you have to use a certain terminology, you have to add humor into it, you have to add a lot of different things to keep their attention. Whereas